Now I'd like to welcome Hilary. Hilary's got an interesting topic, the pattern of language of trauma recovery in connection to place. I am intrigued, so thank you.
Thank you very
Remember,
much.
stand in front and nice and loud, please.
I'll try. Is this loud enough? Okay. My name's Hilary. I live in Bairnsdale, but I have walked in Sarsfield for around 40 years. And first of all, I just want to thank Frank Flynn. Some of the photos that you'll see are through lens that Frank has lent me for my camera. Every time he threatens that he might want it back, I just say, "What's that plant, Frank?" And it's great. He's good. So yeah, here we go. Okay, so first of all, my gratitude to my teachers, mentors, friends, and the lineages that they carry, and my deep respect to the Gunai Kurnai, your elders past, present and future, and the more than human community of this place. Trauma is our system in overwhelm. It shatters us. Grief is the pruning of our nerve connections following loss. It's adapting to rather than getting over change. Both are clumsy, painful, exhausting, and both have their own rhythm once they begin to find their way. The first step is to inhabit our senses. So this patch is Sarsfield, where I walk. The lines are my tracks. That's all where my connection is. This is where I come to open my senses and find perspective. This is Ruby Roo. Up on Paddy's flat track that day, she actually found a ball and she was really proud of it. I have memories of Sarsfield Forest, of dappled light, pungent smells, bird calls close and far, and that rustle, which is always either echidna or goanna, and I have to listen to the bird language to find out which it's going to be. This is the sky above my mother's place in Bairnsdale on the 30th of December 2019, a day that everything changed. It was a long time before I got to see anything else, but the first glimpse was magpies. I don't know if they were singing up country, but I figure they might have been. And that lurid green. Eventually I got to actually go in. And once I head up the track, the emotions start to flow. It's like visiting an old friend in intensive care. It feels so important to remember how they were and to tell them that I know. There are lines of charcoal where trees have fallen and continue to burn. Spiralling lines of the new growth are sprouting up the trunks. I alternate between despair and wonder. My senses reel for the lack of sound and the acrid smell of wet ash. Down this track used to live the bowerbird and the spiderweb gauntlet. In 2012, I recorded dueling lyrebirds here. But now there's insects, ants working hard, mosquitoes, fast food for the needs of the community, spiders, frogs, birds and microbats. And there's death and there's humour. Oops. This is one of many fallen elders. I'm hoping the younger ones are able to step into the roots of those who've held the ground for so long. This place I call Wombat Gully. Every time I visit the forest, I come down here to check in. The rain washed so much ash down here. And this is why it's called Wombat Gully. The light was shining through, illuminating new growth like traffic lights. I have loads of photos of this place. This is Old Man Hill Road near Mill Gully Road with an old coupe on the right. The coupe has not recovered. anywhere near as well as the rest of the forest. This is Paddy's flat track right up at the top of the hill. Up here is hard on the senses. I feel the wind blow, and yet there's no sound accompanying it. There's no leaves, no birds. But the tiny things are catching my eye. It's hard to believe how excited I can get over a single bird poo. And the tracks. In the soft ash, there are so many signs of life. And down in the gullies, again, the tiny things. My senses are drawn in and then out, coming back into the rhythm of life. Down here, there's something really primal going on. Without nutrient and light competition or space competition and browsers, the plants are growing into their like archetypal forms. It's exquisite. And mine are the only human prints on this piece of land at this time. And now a tipping point. The green hoods come back everywhere. And the delight is so rich and so deep because I know what it was, because of what it means to me. And this is where it is like trauma and grief, like that point when you start to feel goodness again, when you start to love life again, and it means so much because of where you've been, because of how deep and dark it was, and the people who kept pace alongside you, who truly saw how bad it got, they get it, and they're so pleased and proud of you. But there are those who see you and say, told you it'd grow back, it was never all that bad. They will never get it. It's still so delicate and not yet certain, and there's so far to go, but now you know the direction. This is Wombat Gully again. Can I play the sound? Here it is. I drove down here in the July 2020 and I suddenly heard a sound that I'd not heard. There was only wattlebird and grey shrike thrush, but I could hear yellowtail black cockatoo. I think the sound has stopped. It's still there. Can you hear it? The lyrebird had come back. And this is round the corner from where I had recorded lyrebird in 2012. I don't know if it's the same bird. So the next one. This is Costa's track in a spot that I used to stand grinning in the dark. The first time I heard this sound, I had no idea what it was. And I live for the day when I'll hear it again. Can you hear that? The fax machine of the yellow-bellied glider. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hilary. For me, that was brave, breathtaking, and truly beautiful. So well done.